Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Zazani Sumiramti Ahmad. Today I will talk about type of fermentation or biological treatment process used in the wastewater treatment system. The biological treatment process used in the wastewater treatment system is MBR, membrane bioreactor. MBR combine biological treatment using microorganisms with membrane filtration technology. The microorganisms break down pollutants in the wastewater, while the membrane separates clean water from the sludge and suspended solid. This process produces higher quality treated water and is widely used in the modern wastewater treatment system. Next, I will talk about role of microorganisms in reducing pollutants such as organic matter, COD, BOD, and sludge. Microorganisms design and consume the organic pollutant present in the wastewater. They break down complex waste material into simpler and non-toxic substances such as water, carbon dioxide, and biomass. This process helps reduce pollutants including organic matter, COD, BOD, and sludge. The efficiency of microbiome activity is influenced by parameters such as dissolved oxygen, DO, and pH, because stable oxygen level and pH condition help microorganisms survive and function effectively during the treatment process.
Now, let's look to the actual layout and the equipment we record during our visit to Ajinomoto wastewater treatment plant. First is the core biological treatment equipment. We start with the buffer tank, which acts as our equalization unit. It stores and mixes the raw, highly concentrated wastewater to ensure a stable flow and the organic load entering the biological system. By preventing suddenly spike the wastewater volume or the streak, this tank protects our downstream bacteria from being shocked or overwhelmed. Next, the water moves through the two critical biological processes. In the nitrification tank, which is the heavily oxygenated aerobic bacteria break down organic pollutants like BOD and COD and convert ammonia into nitrates. Continuous mechanical air blowers are used here to keep the dissolved oxygen high enough for these bacteria to thrive and digest the waste. The water then moves to the denitrization tank, which a tank without oxygen, while specialized bacteria convert the nitrate into the harmless nitrogen gas. This step is absolutely crucial for removing the high nitrogen content originating from Ajinomoto amino acid production. After that, the wastewater enters the MBR tanks. These tanks contain advanced microfiltration and ultrafiltration membrane modules that physically separate the clean water from the bacterial sludge. This ensuring an exceptional high-quality effluent and advance the physical barrier completely replace traditional clarified, allowing the plant to save massive amount of physical space. Finally, the return sludge tank recycles the active, hungry bacteria filtered out by the MBR tank and straight back to the front of the biological tanks. This is vital to maintain a high microbial pollution or MLSS across the entire system. Without this continuous recycling route, the biological tank will rapidly run out of the bacteria needed to treat the incoming wastewater. Next, we've moved to the vital post-treatment, polishing and monitoring unit operations. First is the multimedia filter and the activate carbon filter serve as the final polishing stage. The multimedia filter catches any remaining tiny suspended particles, while the carbon filter absorbs trace odors, colors, and residual organic compounds. This dual-barrier filtration ensures that the wastewater looks completely crystal clear and is entirely free of unwanted micropollutants. Before the water can be discharged, it enters the final pH adjust tank. This is the last safety check to neutralize the water, dosing acid or alkali to hit the strict target of pH 6.5 to 7.5, so it doesn't harm the river ecosystem. This step ensures compliance with the Department of Environment regulation, as discharging highly acidic or alkaline water would instantly kill local aquatic life. Finally, the treated stream flows through the final monitoring tank. This is where automatic sensors continually test the water equality parameters like the turbidity, DO, and temperature before it officially leaves the factory. This continual monitoring acts as Ajinomoto ultimate safety defense loop, automatically altering the engineering if any treated water fails to meet environmental compliance standards. Last is the critical operation conditions and parameters that keep the entire system running at a peak efficiency. First, we have the dissolved oxygen in the denitrification tank. The maintainer under the strict onoxic conditions with a DO of less than 0.5 mg per liter, forcing the bacteria to strip oxygen from nitrates and release the harmless nitrogen gas. Meanwhile, the nitrification and reaction tanks are kept highly aerobic with a DO of 2 to 3 mg per liter via continuous aeration to allow the microbes to effectively the oxidize organic matter like the BOD and COD and convert the ammonia into the nitrates. Carefully maintaining this strict contrast between the oxygen-rich and oxygen-starved zone is the absolute key to complete removing the complex nitrogen pollution from the water. Secondly, we monitor the high-density biomass concentration, which is the MLSS, enabled by the MBR tank. The mixture required sustained solid is maintained at a very high concentration of 8,000 to 12,000 mg per liter, which is near double convention the system, while the return starch tank continuously recycle the biomass to keep the concentration perfectly balanced, and this highly dense pollution of microbes allow the plants to treat the massive volume of organic waste such as the faster while using the significant smaller physical footprint. Next is tight pH regulation. This is monitored via online probes and adjusted in the final pH adjust tank to keep the system at the stable and biological friendly range, which is between 6.5 to 7.5. Since nitrifying bacteria are highly sensitive to acid, and drastic pH drop will completely halt the nitrogen removal process. By using automated chemical dosing to prevent the acidification, the plant ensures that the biological treatment process remains stable. Lastly, we manage the membrane flux and transmembrane pressure, known as TMP. These are monitored inside the MBR tank to prevent the membrane fouling or clogging, while the backwash pit provides the treated water indeed for periodic automated reverse flushing to maintain steady filtration flow rates. Tracking the TMP allows engineers to catch clogging issues early and, and scheduling the automatic backwash before the flow rate drops enough to slow down the entire factory's treatment will output.
Next, I would like to present about the environmental and societal benefits. The application of fermentation technology and biological wastewater treatment provides many environmental benefits by reducing pollutants before wastewater is discharged into the environment. Through biological treatment processes, microorganisms help reduce organic matter, COD, BOD, and also other contaminants. which helps minimize water pollution and protect surrounding ecosystem. In addition, proper wastewater treatment contributes to better water quality and supports environmental conservation by reducing harmful impacts from industrial activities. This helps industries operate in a more sustainable and environmentally responsible manner. From a societal perspective, wastewater treatment also provides benefits to communities by protecting public health and creating a cleaner environment. Proper treatment system helps reduce risks associated with untreated wastewater while ensuring industry comply with environmental regulation and standards. In a conclusion, this industrial visit helped us understand the importance of applying biological treatment technologies to achieve environmental protection, social well-being, and also the sustainable industrial development. Move to the next slide. It is talking about the appreciation of sustainable development and responsible engineering practice. For the sustainable development, the wastewater treatment process supports sustainable development because it helps reduce environmental pollution caused by the industrial activities. Through proper biological treatment processes, pollutants and also the harmful substance can be reduced before wastewater is discharged into the environment. Besides that, the treatment process helps conserve water resources by ensuring wastewater is properly treated and managed. This supports long-term environmental sustainability and encourage industries to operate in a more environmentally friendly manner. However, for the responsible engineering practice, it is very important to ensure wastewater treatment system operate efficiently, safely, and according to environmental regulations. Engineers must continuously monitor operational conditions such as pH, flow rate, equipment performance, and also the treatment efficiency to maintain stable operation. In addition, engineers have the responsibility to ensure industrial productivity can be achieved without causing negative impacts on society and the environment. Proper design, operation, and maintenance of wastewater treatment system demonstrate how engineering knowledge is applied to solve an environmental challenge. Through this industrial visit, we gain the appreciation for how engineers play an important role in balancing industrial development with environmental protection and public safety.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Akmal Adha, and now I will be continuing our presentation for the next part, which is process for chart of the water treatment use. Now, as we know, before we treat the wastewater, there will be the influent water which comes from various places that will be received by a tank in order to continue on the wastewater treatment. So these are all the receiving influence for the Ajinomoto plant. First of all is the spray from the spray dry process, which liquid raw material is converted into dry powder, and wastewater is mainly generated from equipment and tank cleaning. Example of this is a tank that produces soy sauce, and that excess soy sauce on the equipment will be called as the spray dry as called as the wastewater from the spray dry process. Second one is from decolorization, which is resin is used to remove color from the raw material. Wastewater is produced during resin and tank washing processes. The third one is from resin regeneration, which is acid is used to regenerate the resin and restore its efficiency. The spent acid is then discharged into the wastewater treatment systems. Now, finally, is from others, maybe like blending, packing, R&D, or QC, which supporting activities from these processes can generate wastewater through cleaning, washing, and quality through operations.
Next, we will proceed for the second stage of the treatment of the wastewater treatment. And so the second stage of the treatment for the Ajinomoto plant is called the biological treatment. Now, from this treatment, after receiving the influent, the wastewater will undergo nitrification from three tanks, which nitrification is basically just changing ammonia gas, harmful ammonia, into first of all into nitrite, and then further on changing it into nitrate. This is to remove the toxicity of ammonia in the wastewater. Now, next, it will go through the denitrification process, which will change the nitrate into nitrogen gas. This is to avoid eutrophication, which will cause algae bloom and further on contaminate the water even more. Now, after denitrification, it will go into an to a aeration tank, which basically provides oxygen via bubbles, and this is to further on continue on for the degradation for the wastewater. Now, after that, it will go through the membrane bioreactor or MBR, and this will split the waste from solids and liquids. So the liquids will pass through, and the solids will be blocked off by the membrane. After that, the sludge the sludge from the biological treatment will go through a screw press and exit out as bio sludge. Fun fact for the bio sludge in Ajinomoto, it is not considered as scheduled waste because after a lot of testing, their characteristics for the sludge does not meet the requirements as scheduled waste. So instead, their sludge will be bought from another company in order to use as fertilizer. Now, we will continue for the third stage. Now, continuing on for the third stage, which is next, the chemical treatment stage. Now, after exiting from the stage two, the wastewater will go into a one buffer tank, which the function of this buffer tank is also known as a equalization tank. The main purpose of it is to equalize any variables in order to uh, in order to create an optimum amount for the chemical treatment to undergo. Now, next, after they exit the buffer tank, it will go into a coagulation tank, which the coagulant used is H2SO4 or sulfuric acid. Basically, coagulation is just the formation of flocks from waste particles just clumping together. Now it will go to the pH adjustment, which they use sodium hydroxide or NaO as to neutralize the acidity from the H2SO4 from the coagulation tank. Next, it will enter the flocculation tank, which basically just creates even bigger flocks from the coagulation tank. They will just create even bigger and bigger flocks as for the same particles, the particles. And then after that, it will go to a sedimentation tank, which basically just the flocks will drop down to the tank via gravity. Now, the sludge for the chemical treatment will go through a filter press and then exit out as chemical sludge. And now we will continue for the fourth stage. Furthermore, now we continue for the fourth stage, which is the physical treatment process after the third stage of the chemical treatment process. Now, after the third stage, the wastewater will enter a second buffer tank, which, as I said before, it is an equalization tank. So it will equalize any variable to optimize the process of this stage. Now it will go through a multimedia filter to filter out even more pollutants from the wastewater, and after that we'll go through a activated carbon filter. For the activated carbon filter, what it will do is just basically just catch the pollutants using its highly porous structure, which will just make the pollutants stuck into it. And after that, they will go into a buffer pit for the final process of the stage 4. Now, continuing on for the fifth and final stage of this plant. Now, for the fifth stage or the final stage of this of the plant in Ajinomoto wastewater treatment, the after the fourth stage, the wastewater will go to a final monitoring tank, which will monitor the all the variables, maybe like pH, toxicity, everything. And if there is if the wastewater does not if the effluent does not meet the requirements of Ajinomoto, it will then be proceeded to the spare tank, and then brought back to the emergency wastewater tank, which basically means from the final monitoring tank, it will just bring the wastewater back to the first stage, as we said, from the receiving tank, and will continue on with the treatment process, doing it again and again and again until the results are different and they get what required results they want for the final stage. Now, if the results meets the requirements for the wastewater treatment, it will then be discharged as effluent or as standard A, and discharged as the recycle water tank to the recycle water tank. And that's all for the process flowchart.